Attorney Keisha Heaven joins us, former prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney now. Good to see you both.
Good to see you too.
Eric, most lawyers think that the grand jury is a grand contrivance. In other words, the only lawyer who's there is the prosecutor. He can feed to the jury, the grand jury, anything he wants to. There are really no rules of evidence. Hearsay is admissible. And thus the old saying, you can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. So do you think that there's a legitimate reason here for the Rice family to be upset about this grand jury?
They do have a legitimate reason to be upset, and this is why. The grand jury process is secret, and this prosecutor who is taking this case and looking at it from the eyes of the prosecution standpoint, what he should be, but he was actually helping the defendant.
Right.
That is the perception, and it's probably a reality. That is why it's very important for these types of police shootings to be investigated and presented to grand juries by a totally independent person, because this prosecutor is working hand in hand with his police officer on dozens of cases, and it's like prosecuting a family member or friend.
The flip side, it was interesting as we were watching the county prosecutor yesterday at the news conference announcing the grand jury decision not to indict. He seemed then, Eric, to literally invite the Rice family to file a civil action for wrongful death. Now, surely they're going to do that if they haven't done it already, for goodness sakes.
And they're going to win. And
they're going to win because why? The burden of proof is lower?
The burden of proof is lower, and they look at the totality of not just what this police officer did, but what dispatch did not tell this police officer.
Right.
Dispatch failed to tell the police officer that they thought that this was a toy gun. And that makes the whole system at fault. The whole system should be held accountable for this death. And problems with the grand jury side of it is that people want to see the transparency. They want to see the proceedings in open court, and that's what we have to start looking at doing, especially in cases of police brutality and police shootings.
What about suing the toy gun manufacturer that sells a gun, makes and sells a gun that looks absolutely real, except for the little cap on the front that's bright orange? But they made it so that it's removable. It should have been made permanent.
Right.
Sue them.
I would say, and I agree with Eric, in the civil suit, they're going to name so many defendants. They're going to name the dispatcher. They're going to name the police department. They're going to name the manufacturer of the toy gun. And I do think that in light of what we are facing in this country with weapons and people killing people and no strict gun control laws, the manufacturers do need to be careful and make sure that weapons are not going to look real like they did in this case.
And the manufacturers should be held liable because this was foreseeable. It was foreseeable that a child would take this orange cap off and wave it around and look like a real gun.
Well, and Ohio's a comparative negligence state, so there may be some fault on the part of Tamir Rice, which would be apportioned in a...
But if he's not the one who took that orange cap off, then it's not his fault.
Okay.
But he got the gun from his friend.
Eric Guster, Keisha Heaven, good to see you both.
Good to see you
too,
Greg.
All right.